In my infinite wisdom as a 20 something year old, I decided I didn't want to sell supplements anymore. So, because again, innately, I also knew that that wasn't sustainable. It wasn't going to give them the results that they wanted by just sticking to supplements and not doing anything with their diet. So that's when I stopped selling them and I just focused on. Greetings and welcome to Naturally You Radio. My name's Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach. And today we are talking about supplements, what they do, what they are, if you need them, and how you can stop wasting your money on them. Please remember to like and share this video and podcast, leave a review or a comment wherever you're watching it, and that's going to help us to grow and help more Black women to eat for health, think for happiness, and live in harmony, or what we call becoming naturally you. So, a bit about my journey with supplements. I don't actually remember taking any supplements. I don't know if supplements was even really a thing back in the 80s when I was growing up, necessarily. It was just like medicines. We would just have medicines. Now, what we did do is have some kind of like a washout type situation, and ours was castor oil, which I still haven't fully gotten over. So we would do things that would support our health, but it wasn't necessarily in like the context of taking supplements. And I definitely don't remember, she might have actually, but I don't remember my mum or my dad taking supplements. But I do remember we might have had things like cod liver oil somewhere around, but yeah, we didn't really indulge in it like that, the way that, children and parents do so now. But in my teens, in my late teens, when I started getting into health and started to want to try and heal my menstrual condition more naturally, I got heavily into herbs and heavily into supplements. And it was mainly herbs, but I did start exploring things like nutritional oils and probiotics and superfoods and all the things. When I then became a nutritionist after I, healed myself from the menstrual condition that I had, I did start selling some supplements, some of the supplements that had been working for me and ones that I thought would be useful to the clients that I was working with. But I kind of started to feel like people relied on them because I had a website and I would sell at events, and people that I hadn't given recommendations to would be coming up and buying loads of supplements, and they would come back and, restock on those supplements on the site. And I was very judgy. I was very judgmental when I first started the journey, to be honest. And I was thinking, why do you keep on buying so many supplements for? But I know you're not doing things because, I'd have conversations with clients and things like that. And I know you're not doing things to improve your health. You're just kind of relying on these supplements. And to the point where I almost felt I was doing a disservice to people by selling them supplements because it felt like they were cheating. It felt like they were cheating because they weren't doing anything with their diet and they were just relying on the supplements. So, in my infinite wisdom as a 20 something year old, I decided I didn't want to sell supplements anymore. So, because again, innately, I also knew that that wasn't sustainable. It wasn't going to give them the results that they wanted by just sticking to supplements and not doing anything with their diet. So that's when I stopped selling them and I just focused on food and coaching people with their diet. And then I got into raw food, and raw food is quite removed from like the supplement, conversation. And I did that for a long time. But the more I worked with people, I realized that food alone was not sustainable. Some people really needed extra nutrients. Some people needed something to make their journey easier. So I started giving more recommendations for supplements, because even like economically, people weren't able to afford to buy the amount of food and the types of food and the varieties of food that would, allow them to fulfill their health goals. But they could more affordably just add some supplements to help facilitate that process. And that did make it more sustainable, and it made their program more effective. So I did start giving people recommendations on supplements that they could take to complement their foods. But what became apparent was that it became challenging from clients to source what was recommended, because I would give them a recommendations list. They would have to get one thing from Amazon, one thing from Holland and Barrett, one thing had to get shipped in by a particular company. And it just became a bit, challenging for my clients. So to make things easier, I started selling And this was like, there was a 10-year gap where I didn't sell products, but I did start recommending, sorry, selling the products that I was recommending. And then I started making products myself as well, where couldn't find supplements that I thought were good enough quality. I would buy the really good quality ingredients and, package them, encapsulate them, and put them in tea bags and all the things. Um, so now the recommendations that I give to clients when they come into clinic for live blood analysis, when I do nutrition consultations, they are still mainly foods and lifestyle. And then there's a few supplements that can help get people out of deficiency, get them back into balance, and then they maintain with their food. But a concern that a lot of my clients have, and this is very understandable, especially now because, I mean, when I was, started my journey, it was like 20 years ago. So this is over a 20-year period we're talking. And over the last 20 years, accessibility to supplements and supplements being promoted to you, all of that kind of stuff has increased a lot. And consumerism has become extremely easy because of how much online shopping we can do and how many again things that are promoted to us in everywhere we go online, making it very easy for us to just consume and overconsume and buy things that we don't need. And there's a lot of areas in life where people are wasting money and buying things that they don't need or they can't efficiently and effectively use. And health is one of those areas. So one of the concerns that clients would have would be that they were adding more supplements to the ones they already had in their cupboards. So a typical conversation would be something like this. I would recommend, supplements, maybe take this liver health supplement, this digestive enzyme, this probiotic. A client would say, I'm not sure, I have so many already. And I'd be like, well, why do you have so many supplements already in your cupboard? Because my thing is like I have supplements in my cupboard, but I'm using all of them. I'm using them and then I'm replacing them for the most part, unless it was like I was on a cleanse and I went halfway through a bottle of something. But I know why that's sitting there and half used. But everything else, I'm using it and getting through it because I don't really like wasting money. There's a lot of things I could waste money on, but because the supplements that I get tend to be better quality. I don't have time. I don't have money to waste on like buying lots of things that I absolutely am never going to use. So I'm always fascinated. I'm like, well, why do you have so many supplements? So I'm like, did they not work? All the things. And what some people will say is that they'll either say, I've been taking them for years. So these are the 5 or 6 that I take all the time. And I've been taking them for years. And I always ask the same thing. Can you really tell the difference between when you're taking them and when you're not? Or, and a lot of people will say when they started taking them, they could feel it. And then eventually they couldn't really tell the difference. But now they're just in the habit of doing it and they kind of don't want to stop because they don't want to stop and something goes wrong. A little bit like the mindset around maintenance doses of pharmaceuticals. People can actually fall into that trap with their supplements as well. Or people will say, I'm not actually taking them. I just bought them. I've bought different ones over the years. I have, maybe some of them haven't really worked. I didn't finish some of them. I kind of lost track. I was never consistent. And then I would buy some more. Or I was still taking them and they weren't really helping with what it is that I needed them for. So they've just got left in the cupboard. And that's why they're apprehensive. So then obviously we work around that. But either way, it began to feel so much like clients were just wasting their money. And this is money that could be going towards, and in the same conversations, I would be, clients would be saying, well, healthy food is expensive, fruits and vegetables are expensive, the probiotics, the sea moss, all the things. And like the money that you're spending on these supplements every month that you keep on buying more of, some of them you're using, some of them you're not. If there was more of a strategy around how you were buying your supplements, then you wouldn't need to probably buy as many. And the money you're spending on those supplements could be going towards healthy foods, putting more healthy foods into your diet, supplements that actually work. And the amount of money some people are spending on supplements that if they're working, fair play. If they're working and you're taking them, fair play. But the money that people are wasting on supplements they're not taking could legitimately get these people a full body aromatherapy massage every couple of months. So so that you don't fall into that trap, let's look at what supplements are. Do you need them? And then we'll start looking at some suggestions. So, supplements are things that are additions to your diet. So, they're not things that come in large quantities. They're normally in concentrated forms. You don't always need that much of them. And in my opinion, they should be things that are, for the most part, temporary. So, things like things that are in capsules, that are in bottles, these kind of things, they are they're not meant to be that you don't take masses of them. You take, grams or milligrams of them because they're so concentrated. You don't need to take that many of them. Um, and again, they're meant to be temporary. So again, if you're taking good quality supplements, and we'll talk about a few exceptions, but if you're taking good quality supplements, you should only really need to take them for kind of 3 to 6 months. And if you take them consistently, or relatively consistently for 3 to 6 months, they should be able to do the job of getting your body back into balance, dealing with the deficiency that you may have, and then you maintain with your food. And then you may need to repeat that cycle on an annual basis where you have periods where you top up with the supplements, good quality supplements, and then you maintain with the food for the rest of your life. And that's a more sustainable way to take supplements, especially if they're good quality supplements. Now, there is a gray area of supplements, and they are. So I was working with a client yesterday and I was asking her, what supplements you're taking at the moment. And she goes, well, if you mean things like sea moss and herbs, I take sea moss and herbs every day. I don't actually consider sea moss and herbs supplements because number one, you take them in slightly bigger quantities, or you can take them more consistently, and they can be more long term because they're more food based. And there is a whole kind of area of nutraceuticals or food, like, and kind of food based supplements, but things like herbal teas, like I wouldn't necessarily say nettle tea, even though it is very powerful. I wouldn't necessarily consider it a supplement, but I understand it falls into that realm of foods that aren't necessarily on the grocery list, but they are things you add to your everyday life. And they are things that, again, that you can take long term and don't really fall into the conversation that we're having right now, because I don't really feel you can waste your money on herbal teas unless absolutely you are not taking them. So, do you need them? Now, if you have no real health challenges, um, no real symptoms, nothing that's impeding you from enjoying your life, and you've got the energy, your sleep is good, your mental and emotional is in a good place, your body shape is what you're comfortable with and what you're happy with, you don't have, yeah, all of those things, and for the most part you're taking in nutritious foods and you're consciously taking in nutritious foods on a regular basis, then arguably you don't really need supplements. It's not something you really need to waste your money. You can keep investing your money and making sure you've got that healthy food coming in, unless you want to do it preventatively, and then you just choose some preventative, things that keep your levels topped up, and then you do things preventatively. But it's not like you absolutely need to do these things. And everyone is susceptible to things. We go through stages and phases of life. Like work can get a bit stressful, family can be a bit stressful. You might go on holiday and get something, you got to recover from it. So all those things. No one lives in a vacuum. So I understand even if someone is in a good health state, they still want to take supplements. But again, just making sure you're taking ones that are not breaking the bank and that are actually effective, and then fair play. But if you do feel like you are in a good place, supplements doesn't even really need to come into your ballpark. I mean, if it's things like sea moss that you like the taste of, like the flavored sea mosses, then, go at it. But you don't really need to bother with supplements, no matter what the very convincing social media adverts tell you. If you don't feel you need supplements, don't bother with supplements. Now, if you have an obvious diagnosis, an absolute health challenge, or a health goal. So again, you might be in a good physical state with no symptoms, but you have a health goal. It might be like an athletic goal, or, a weight goal, or a body shape goal, or, a goal. Like you're not sleeping as much as you would like and you want to extend it, or you still feel like you get a little bit stressed and you want to reduce it. Then supplements can complement a healthy diet and lifestyle to help you achieve that goal, or address and work with your diagnoses or your health your health challenge. I still wouldn't recommend you take supplements and depend on them. You would take specifically what you need for a certain amount of time to achieve the goal that you want. So if it's reducing your blood pressure or stabilizing your blood sugar or getting better readings on your cholesterol test or getting down to a certain weight, or improving your energy to the point that you can XYZ, whatever it is, then taking supplements in that instance does absolutely make sense. And taking the supplements that you know are going to help you achieve your goal as opposed to it being random. Because, people are like, well, this person's taking magnesium, so I think I should. That person's got a zinc spray. I think I might benefit from a zinc spray. That's not, I don't think that's the best way to decide whether you should take supplements or not. I think it should be very, very personalized. And then obviously coming in to do something like live blood analysis, so we can see exactly or we have a much better idea of what's going on with your body so that we know what supplements you need specifically. That's also a good way around it. But a lot of us already kind of know what it is that we want and need. And then that can be how you decide what you're going to get. A few tips when it comes to supplements. So some things are good to take in cycles. So part of our culture, so my parents are from the Caribbean, part of my culture in a lot of cultural families is that washouts used to happen. Like there would be a little washout you would have at before you went back to school or at the end of school term. Again, like I said at the beginning, I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, but we had castor oil, which was and I'm still recovering from the castor oil. Yeah, so we would have castor oil. I think my husband's family had like milk of magnesia. There were things that would be done because it was acknowledged that toxins build up in the system and periodically you need to get rid of them. But cleansing isn't something I think people need to do consistently. And I do have a bit of a bug to bear with cleansing because I feel sometimes people are made to feel bad, so bad about their current condition that cleanses is like easy to sell people. And some people actually need to do more with their rest and relaxation. Some people do need to do more with nourishing their body. And some of the cleanses can be quite aggressive. And again, some people don't even always need the very aggressive cleanses. But if you haven't done something to help your body to get rid of the accumulation of toxins that just build up in our bodies from regular day-to-day activities being out in the world, then an annual or biannual kind of little routine where for a few weeks you take some things like liquid probiotics or aloe vera or diatomaceous earth, which is another good one, cerasee tea. Most people in the Caribbean know about cerasee tea. And then doing also things like having some periods of fasting, whether it's on raw food or juices or liquids or just water fasting, and having colonics as well, hydrocolon therapy, all of those kind of things is useful. And then you would be taking those things just for a period of time and you would be doing that once, twice a year. And having it at a time when you can remember. So you do it every, the beginning every summer or every autumn or every like New Year's. I remember when I went to go and get my hydrocolonics done and I asked when I should come back. And she said, it's good to kind of do it with the seasons when you feel like, there's a season change. Coming into autumn, coming into winter, doing it like that. So it's not something you would do consistently, or if you feel like you've been really run down, your diet's been really poor and you want to get yourself back on track, that can be your time to focus on it. Use what you've bought is my other biggest tip. And this is where we really get into, we're going to do things that don't waste our money. Okay. So use what you've bought. If you do buy products for a reason, either they've been prescribed to you or you've decided to get them, finish them before you buy anything else. So you don't end up with this backlog, this cupboard full of products that you're not using and you haven't used, and therefore you're wasting your money. The other benefit of finishing what you have is that you finish them so that you give them a chance to work, because some of these nutrients need time to build up in your system. We're not talking about taking things for years, but at least kind of 8 to 12 weeks for most things, especially if you're particularly deficient. Even if you feel the benefits of things like molasses, taking molasses and Spartone, Moringa capsules was the one for me that I know is such a Moringa capsules and Shilajit. When I started taking these and the mushroom blend and nettle tea, in fact, these ones are the ones that I feel the most impact from initially. But even though I feel great for the first, when I first start taking them, I know that I still need to take them for some time for them to build up in my system. So do give them time to work. And you give them time to work by being relatively consistent. So even if you're not taking things every single day, even if you're taking them 5 days a week, you'll still get through them and give them an opportunity to work in your system. Because some people will buy something else thinking what they have doesn't work, but they just haven't given it time to work. And how you become more consistent with them is by making them part of your routine, making them an easy part of your routine. So you have a little breakfast routine where you have, your liquids and your probiotics and things like that first thing in the morning, and they're just all somewhere where you remember them. One of the things that I've been recommending a lot of clients do that seems to work with being more consistent is adding things to their water. So a few clients recently have commented that it really helped them stay consistent. So every morning they will fill up their like 1.5 to 2 liter water bottle, and into that bottle they will put their vitamin C powder, and one of my clients is on chlorella powder because actually two of my clients are on chlorella powder because they're getting mercury fillings removed. So putting some chlorella powder in the water, some moringa powder in the water, vitamin C powder in the water, giving it a good shake and drinking that throughout the day. And that's another way they add it to their routine to make it consistent so that they're consistent with it. If you have things that you're meant to have in the evenings, then putting them near the seasonings, if you're having them with dinner, putting them next to your bed, if it's things you're meant to have like last thing at night, putting them next to your teas that you have, at lunchtime, if it's something you're meant to have in the middle of the day, because habit reforms nature. And once you get into the habit of doing these things, then, it becomes more consistent and you're more likely to get the benefit. A few good products is better than having bottles and bottles and bottles of ineffective, cheap junk. And even though I'm saying cheap junk, quality is more important than quantity, but not necessarily price. Because so one of our products that we have is vitamin C powder, and it is probably one of the cheapest products we've got in the shop, but it's pure ascorbic acid powder. There aren't that many isolated vitamins and minerals that I recommend, but I do see the benefit, and I've seen the benefit consistently with people adding pure ascorbic acid powder to their water and their smoothies and all the things. But because it's good quality and it's the purity of it makes it really beneficial rather than some of the effervescent, fizzy vitamin C products that are out there, that when someone's taking them, you can't really tell the difference. They can't really tell the difference. But when they're taking a few good quality products, you can absolutely tell the difference, and they can feel the difference as well. Now, another thing that keeps things consistent for some people is if you've got a subscription, because subscriptions keep things regular. Because when you see that notification come in that you've made another payment in your subscription plan, it reminds you to keep taking them. However, and that works really well for some people. They know they need to use it up because they're on a subscription and they want to keep it going. But if you are the type of person who has got gym membership and you've had it for a while and you still don't go, then having products on a subscription may not work for you, because you may just end up with bottles and bottles of things that also are not being used. So, understand what is going to work out, what you think is going to work for you, making things more consistent. And then you've got a better chance at not wasting your money, because you'll only be buying the things that you are taking and they're going to work. I will say this, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later on. If you're dehydrated, if you don't have enough fiber in your diet from, raw fruits and vegetables and all the things, then many of these supplements won't work. The suggestions I'm giving will go to pot, because even if you're consistent, your body won't necessarily be able to break them down particularly efficiently. So making sure you are drinking enough water is the foundational principle of most things. So some more specific suggestions of what you could be taking, combinations of supplements you could be taking based on some specific goals. And these are the kind of the things that a lot of my clients come in with. So that's what I'm sharing. And there's lots of other combinations. And feel free to get in touch if you do have more specific questions and you want some more specific, recommendations. Even though I won't be able to give you super specific unless you've, come into the clinic, I can kind of give you an idea of what you might want to look at. What I will say is that most people's digestion is poor. Again, if you're not really conscious of your health, most people's digestion is poor. So if you focus on your digestion, this is going to allow you to get more nutrients out of the food that you're currently eating, and a more nourished body is a more efficient body generally. So, if you feel like you haven't done anything to look at your digestion recently, then the supplements you might want to invest in is a good quality aloe vera juice, digestive enzymes to help your body break down the foods that you are eating more efficiently, probiotics because your digestive tract needs to have that good colony of friendly organisms to help process your food. And then a digestive herbal tea. So we have a herbal tea blend, my actual favorite herbal tea blend, called and it's a combination of herbs that support the digestion. So like fennel, cardamom, marshmallow root, peppermint, pineapple, and a few other things, I think. So if you feel your digestion is poor, those can be the few supplements that you focus on taking to help that specific health goal. Again, a lot of my clients have got challenges with their energy. And because I work with a lot of Black women is who this podcast is dedicated to also. And a lot of the things that we go through can use up a lot of our energy. So one of the things that's useful is obviously making sure that your iron and mineral levels are at a good level. So having sea moss regularly, liquid irons like Spartone or Floridex, nettle and dandelion tea are my two favorite teas. And both of those herbs are found in our new herbal tea blend called Tuma. B complex, because I also find that a lot of my clients who are low in iron also tend to be low in B complex. So whilst the B vitamins can be, taken separately, just like mushrooms, the B vitamins do tend to work together when they're taken together because they're synergistic. They work together, they work better when they're together in the same way mushrooms do as well. So they have said that taking smaller amounts of lots of the medicinal mushrooms together can be more effective than taking larger amounts of the individual medicinal mushrooms. So B complex can also be useful. And then nutritional superfoods like moringa powder, whether it's capsules or the tea or the powder, again, added in your water or in your smoothies. Those few supplements can be really beneficial if you want to focus on boosting your energy levels. And of course, lifestyle things like making sure you're getting enough sleep is also going to contribute to your energy levels as well. If you feel that your immunity is a challenge, again, I would recommend things like pure vitamin C powder, probiotics, because again, not only is your digestion contributed to by the friendly bacteria in your gut, but your immune system is really impacted on having the right balance of organisms in your gut. Having, even if it's a mild kind of anti-parasitic, antibacterial product. So we've got a product called Caprylic Acid Plus, which is a capsule, and it's got like wormwood and garlic and, some of those other, but it's not one of the more aggressive ones, but it is something that can help to reduce the number of pathogens in the system to help your immune system thrive. If sleep is one of your challenges, sleep or stress, I guess, is one of the challenges, then we have a sleep and stress blend called Cinnamon, which is a combination of herbs that help with sleep and stress. So we've got the lemon balm and chamomile St. John's wort. St. John's wort is probably one of my favorite herbs when it comes to sleep and stress and all the things. Magnesium. So magnesium supplementally in supplements, magnesium oil, magnesium salt, in your bath, in a foot soak, even all of those ways, which isn't necessarily you taking it internally, but mushroom blend is also really useful when it comes to reducing stress and anxiety. Some of the mushrooms are used for that, even though mushroom blends tend to be more linked now to replacing coffee and helping stimulation and all those kind of things. It's also really useful for reducing stress. I would also say black seed oil is another good one when it comes to sleep and stress and anxiety and those types of things, because the healthy fats in the black seed oil help to nourish the brain And that can help to reduce stress levels. A lot of my sisters that come in are looking for things that can help with their skin and hair. So again, we want things like sea moss. Sea moss helps stimulate your body's natural collagen production, which helps again skin and hair. If you get the plain sea moss, you can use this as a mask on your skin and on your hair as well. So it nourishes from the inside and from the outside. Again, black seed oil. I've had a few sisters who have taken black seed oil internally, and they've found that it's helped to re-stimulate hair growth or make their hair thicker and stronger. Turmeric, the anti-inflammatory properties in turmeric can be really beneficial for hair growth. And then again, making sure we're getting lots of minerals in, lots of protein in. So things like moringa would also be useful. And for my sisters who have got like menstrual or menopausal challenges, we want to look at supporting the hormones. So things like shilajit is really useful at balancing hormone levels. We have a herbal capsule called Womb Balance. A mandala tea, which is a tea blend that has got a combination of herbs that support the womb health. And again, things like sea moss. Now, again, so those were some recommendations on, the small kind of packages of or combinations of supplements that you can take for different reasons. And again, if you do have specific challenges that you want to find out what ideas for supplements would work for you, please feel free to get in touch. But all of these things are going to work much better when you're adding more fresh fruit, more raw foods, more water, and more movement to your life. And that movement can be going for long walks, but doing it regularly and consistently, joining a gym, doing classes, all the things, making sure you fill up your water bottle at the beginning of the day, you're drinking it all throughout the day, making sure you're adding fresh fruit and vegetables to each of your meals as much as possible. All of those things are going to help the supplements to be absorbed and actually get an opportunity to work in your body. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps with, one of the things I definitely recommend is you go ahead and do an audit. If you haven't already, go into your cupboard where you keep your supplements and work out, make sure they're all in date before you do this. But, start taking the ones that you already have before you buy any more. Start taking the ones you already have. If they're ones that are out of date, throw them out. And then absolutely don't, be very conscious on what you do start bringing in to your home and focus on getting the ones that work best for you. And if you don't know what works best for you, then getting some kind of testing, some kind of analysis done is a great place to start. If you want to find out more about our live blood analysis, you can go to the naturallyyoucoach.com/support. If you want to find some of the products that we have, you can find them at the naturallyyoucoach.com/shop. If there are topics that you would like us to cover or guests that you'd like us to interview, then please leave a message in the comments, or you can email me at leah@thenaturallyyoucoach.com. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Naturally You Radio. Take care and stay healthy.